The 24-hour miracle cure for shin pain has officially hijacked every fitness feed on the internet, creating a dangerous illusion that weeks of physiological strain can be reversed in a single sleep cycle. We need to dissect exactly why these viral claims are tearing the running community apart right now. If you scroll through the latest trending threads on Reddit, you'll see a digital war zone. One faction of runners is swearing by these secret overnight techniques, while the veterans are firing back with warnings about long-term bone health.
One viral comment captures the desperation perfectly, stating that they would try anything to stop the burning sensation before their next race, even if it sounds impossible. Meanwhile, over on YouTube, the thumbnails are getting more aggressive, promising instant relief with just one specific movement. It's fascinating and frightening how quickly a desperate athlete will choose a flashy shortcut over the patient reality of recovery.
Let's look closer at these conflicting perspectives and figure out where the hype ends and the actual healing begins, because your shins deserve more than a temporary social media bandage. We are seeing a massive divide between the fast fix influencers and the slow recovery experts. And navigating this noise is the first step to actually getting you back on the pavement without another injury. Now, let's talk about that bag of frozen peas you've been reaching for every time your shins start to throb.
It's the classic runner's reflex. Feel a sharp twinge, grab the ice pack, and numb it into submission. But from a modern physiotherapy standpoint, we need to rethink this habit because you might be making a massive mistake that stalls your recovery. Many of you are probably wondering why something so traditional could be wrong. I see the debates raging in running communities all the time.
One runner recently commented on a popular forum, "I have been icing my shins religiously for 3 weeks, yet the moment I hit the pavement, the burning sensation returns." This is precisely what happens when we prioritize temporary relief over actual physiological healing. When you apply extreme cold, you are causing massive vasoconstriction, essentially shutting the gates on your body's natural repair crew. You see, inflammation isn't actually your enemy. It is a vital biological signal that brings oxygen and white blood cells to the microtears in your bone and muscle tissue. By icing, you are stalling that delivery system and potentially turning a short-term recovery into a chronic struggle. Instead of facilitating the flow of healing nutrients, you are freezing the process in time, leaving the underlying damage completely unaddressed, while merely masking the symptoms. Imagine the weight of a goal that feels light years away, because every single step sends a jarring vibration through your shins. For those of us living at the professional level, that persistent ache isn't just a nuisance. It becomes a psychological barrier that threatens your entire career. You might wonder how a runner goes from barely being able to walk down the stairs to shattering a personal marathon record. It starts with facing that haunting internal dialogue.
I remember seeing a trending thread where one runner commented that shin splints are the silent career killers. And honestly, the community sentiment was echoing my own fear. Some people on social media suggest just running through it, but we need to analyze why that is such a dangerous myth. Let's look back at the turning point. It wasn't about grit. It was about a surgical focus on recovery protocols.
By integrating specific strengthening exercises and corrective mechanics, that sharp, localized trauma finally began to fade. Achieving a personal best wasn't a miracle. It was the result of transforming a debilitating injury into a lesson in physiological resilience, proving that when we treat the pain correctly, the road ahead finally opens up. Now, let's peel back the layers and look at what's actually happening beneath your skin. Because as many of you have pointed out in the comments, it feels like more than just a simple cramp. One runner recently shared a sentiment many of us feel, saying that it feels like their bone is literally splintering from the inside out. To understand why, we need to talk about the delicate relationship between your tibialis anterior muscle and your tibia. When you're pushing for that extra mile, the repetitive stress creates microscopic tugging where the muscle attaches to the bone. This isn't just about the muscle getting tired, it's about the periosteum, that thin, highly sensitive sheath of tissue covering your shin bone. When this membrane becomes inflamed due to constant pulling and vibration, every step starts to feel like a sharp electric shock. While some medicines argue that you just need to toughen up and run through the pain, the physiological reality is that your body is signaling a structural overload.
We aren't just looking at surface-level fatigue here. We are witnessing a micro-trauma battleground where the tissue is struggling to keep up with the impact. You might wonder why the pain is so localized and stubborn, and the answer lies in this very intersection of soft tissue and hard bone, a zone where even the smallest imbalance can lead to a long-term setback if ignored. So I decided to stop waiting for the pain to vanish on its own.
You have probably seen the endless stream of comments under every running tutorial where netizens argue, rest is the only cure, just stay off your feet for a month. But as one frustrated runner recently posted in a popular forum, resting only makes my shins feel better until the very second I start running again. This is the classic trap of passive recovery, and it is exactly why I committed to this 7-day experiment of active discipline.
Instead of sitting on the couch, I started targeting the hidden culprits, the tibialis anterior and the calf complex. On day 1, every repetition of a simple toe raise felt like a battle against my own anatomy. You might be wondering if adding stress to an already painful area is counterintuitive. It is a valid concern, but think of it like tuning a stringed instrument. If the string is too loose, it cannot handle the tension of the music.
By performing these specific accessory movements, I was essentially retuning my lower legs to handle the impact of the pavement. By day 3, the initial soreness from the exercises began to give way to a strange sense of stability. I noticed a skeptical comment online saying, "Strengthening your shins sounds like a total myth." Well, I can tell you from the thick of it, it is anything but a myth.
By day 5, the sharp, stinging sensation that usually greeted me every morning was replaced by a dull, manageable tightness. I was no longer just waiting for the inflammation to subside. I was actively building a shield of muscle and tendon. As we reach the end of this week, the results are nothing short of transformative. It is not just about the pain being gone. It's about the newfound confidence in every step.
We have all been taught that silence is the best medicine for injury, but this week proved that movement, when applied with surgical precision, is the ultimate healer. Now, we've all been there, scrolling through running communities where someone desperately asks for advice and the top comment immediately screams, "Just buy the latest Max Cushion foam and your shin pain will vanish." It's a common sight to see netizens arguing that gear is the ultimate solution, with one viral post even claiming that switching brands was the only thing that saved their season.
But let's pause for a moment and look deeper into the logic here. Is it really the foam? Or is that shiny new pair of shoes simply masking a fundamental flaw in your biomechanics? Think about it like this. If your running form involves heavy overstriding and slamming your heel far in front of your body, even the most advanced aerospace-grade cushioning cannot fully dissipate that massive shockwave traveling straight into your tibia. We often see runners chasing the next big release while completely ignoring their ground contact time or their cadence. You might be wondering, if the elite athletes wear them, why shouldn't I?
The reality is that their refined technique allows them to leverage that technology, whereas for most of us, focusing on a softer landing under our center of mass is worth more than any expensive upgrade. It's rarely about the carbon plate or the brand logo. It's about how your body chooses to interact with the ground. Before you reach for your wallet, let's analyze if your landing pattern is actually working for you or against you.
Now, let's talk about that moment when simple soreness crosses a terrifying line. Many of you might be wondering, is this just a bad case of shin splints, or is my bone actually snapping? We need to look closer at what orthopedic experts call the point of no return. Unlike the general radiating ache of typical shin pain, a stress fracture feels like a precise, agonizing laser beam hitting one specific spot on your tibia.
If you can point to the exact millimeter where it hurts with just one finger, that's a massive red flag. One runner recently commented on a forum, "I thought I could just run through it, but now I can't even walk to the kitchen with a sharp jab. This is exactly what the community calls the silent killer of marathon dreams. You see, your bone isn't just a solid stick, it's a living tissue that is constantly remodeling.
When the breakdown outpaces the repair, you are no longer dealing with simple inflammation, you are dealing with structural failure. If you start feeling that deep throb while lying in bed at night, or if you fail the hop test by feeling a sharp sting upon landing, your body is screaming for you to stop before that tiny crack becomes a complete break. Let's reflect on whether your current training pace is worth a 6-month recovery in a walking boot.
Now, let's move beyond the traditional methods and dive into the world of biohacking to truly optimize your recovery. Imagine your body is a sophisticated engine that doesn't just need downtime, but precision maintenance. You might be wondering why some runners bounce back in days, while others struggle for weeks. It comes down to how you manipulate your internal environment. If you look at recent community discussions, there is a massive divide.
One popular comment recently stated that compression sleeves are just a placebo, but another runner quickly replied that they only worked when paired with a strict anti-inflammatory protocol. This is where the magic happens. We are talking about a dual-layer approach. On the outside, we use compression technology to mechanically support the periosteum and increase lymphatic drainage. On the inside, we use targeted nutrition to quench the fire of inflammation at the cellular level.
When you combine these two, you aren't just healing, you are essentially reprogramming your tissues to repair themselves at double the speed. Let's look at how this synergy ensures your shins stay resilient against the pavement. So, you finally hit that 5-kilometer mark, a milestone that felt like a mountain just weeks ago. But suddenly, your shins are screaming, and your first instinct is to hibernate.
You have probably seen the heated debates in running forums, where one user writes, "I stopped for 3 weeks and the pain vanished," only for another to reply, "I did the same, but the second I laced up my shoes again, the burning returned even worse." This highlights a frustrating truth we need to address together. Absolute rest can often be a trap. Think of your shins like a biological spring. If you never compress it, the metal becomes brittle and loses its bounce.
When we stop moving entirely, our tissues lose their tolerance to load, a process called deconditioning. Instead of healing, the body simply forgets how to handle the impact of the pavement. We should look back at our progress not as a reason to stop, but as a reason to adjust. While it sounds counterintuitive, complete inactivity might be why your recovery feels like it is stalled. By maintaining a tiny amount of stress on the bone through gentle, controlled movement, we actually signal the body to keep strengthening the area.
It is about finding that sweet spot between pushing too hard and doing nothing at all, ensuring your journey beyond the first 5 kilometers is built on resilience rather than a cycle of stopping and starting.